So let's talk about how sex addicts can still be acting out in their sexaholism even when they're not acting out in their normal acting out sexaholic behaviors. For example, they may not be masturbating, they may not be watching pornography, they may not be having sex with individuals outside of their relationship. But in their marriage, they may still be acting out sexually. How so? Now, first, before I answer that question, I understand that this is very controversial. But remember that a sexaholic has taken their sexual behaviors totally out of the context of what is right and wrong, and that really doesn't matter. So, another aspect that you need to understand about sexaholics is that they cannot stop acting out. It takes an act of God for them to stop acting out. So, uh, this is the type of individual that we're talking about. And once they have stopped acting out in their sexaholic behaviors, oftentimes there's the marriage or the long-term relationship that they're in, uh, and the sexual relations in that relationship are covering sexaholism, and it's can be difficult to see when you're in it. And so some things that will shine a light onto sexaholism in a significant relationship is abstinence. So sometimes abstinence occurs therapeutically. We might begin a program of abstinence so that we can uncover lust in the relationship, as well as other pathologies, meaning just like other behaviors, dependencies on, or codependencies in the relationship. And however, sometimes abstinence occurs naturally in a relationship where sexaholism exists, just because disclosures by the sexaholic lead to partners being super upset and traumatized, and therefore sex just kind of takes a back seat in the relationship. And it's in these moments of abstinence where sexaholics learn they really struggle without having sex. So it's that struggle that is evidence of sexaholism in the relationship. And when there's that struggle, first of all, sex addicts oftentimes get really antsy, anxious, and probably irritable with their spouses because they're not having sex. They may also still believe that if they're not having sex with their partner, then they'll act out in their sexaholism, not recognizing that this pressure on their spouses is sexaholism. And so these dry periods for a sexaholic are really powerful because they learn again that they won't die if they don't have sex. So over long periods of abstinence, they can acclimate and learn to be calm and not need to have sex in their marriage. It becomes completely optional. These periods of abstinence will probably occur many times in recovery over multiple years. Sometimes that abstinence will last 3 months. Maybe it lasts 3 months over, 5 times over the next 3 years. And then maybe all of a sudden we might have a whole year of abstinence or even longer. And those either natural or planned moments of abstinence are really, really beneficial. We also learn in abstinence, with abstinence, if the traumatized partner, has issues. All of a sudden, if we're not having sex, a partner of a sex addict will become self-conscious and think that they're not wanted. They'll get really anxious. They might want to have sex just to make sure that they're still loved, that they're beautiful, etc. And we learn that when that happens, that not only is the sex addict dependent on his spouse, but his spouse or partner is also dependent on the sex addict. And we have this really enmeshed relationship where both individuals are depending on one another for their internal joy. And the truth of the matter is, when that happens, that neither partner is going to ultimately benefit, because you can't extract joy from each other. I know that seems hard to understand, and I'm not going to talk a lot about that right now, but the truth of the matter is, it's not your partner that ever provides you your self-esteem, your security, or your joy. That's only that security, self-esteem, and joy only comes from within you. And therefore, abstinence is a great way to become independent from one another and learn that you can be okay without sex. Your value as a spouse is not dependent upon having sex with your partner, and you don't need sex to live or to be at peace. And as you become more and more independent from one another, actually what will happen is that your relationship will become more spiritual, it'll be more personal, vulnerable, and just improve overall.